This episode is going to challenge you, double dog dare you, to watch it with an open heart.
I didn't know a lick of English when I moved. Scariest day is your first day of school. I've had kids break down and cry to me and ask me, why do they hate us? Why do they not want us here? They're scared. They don't want to come to school. Education's the bridge to a more free life. Miss P, I read half the book. It's so good. Our children are the future, regardless of where they come from.
Miss P.
Yes, Miss P.
I want to tell you that our country is better for teachers like you.
Buckle up. This is What the Hell Do I Know with JB.
I am so excited for you to hear this episode. I am interviewing Miss P, who is a Spanish teacher in our local high school that has a nonprofit, or really kind of a side gig that she's doing that is just amazing as she's reaching a community of immigrants in our area to help them be able to read together. It's called La Para Crecer. I probably said that wrong. She'll have to correct it, but it's Read to Grow in Santa Rosa Beach. I'm throwing that up here on the visuals, but you should check their page out and their Instagram page out, and it'll be in all of my show notes as well. What they're doing in helping families connect with each other in a world that feels totally different is amazing. This episode is going to challenge you. And all I would tell you is I double dog dare you to watch it with an open heart.
Hi.
Valentina.
Hi.
I'm so glad we've had to reschedule this a few times, but I'm so glad. No, I'm sorry. I had some issues too, and I know you had something going on which we want to dive into. But
yes.
I kept this clapper out because I wrote your name down, and it's Valentina Piloneita.
Nieta. Good.
Piloneita, yes. Piloneita.
Yes.
Valentina, see, I needed you to say it while I was saying it, then I could get it. I'm so excited to have you. You're from Venezuela
Yes, born
originally.
and raised in Venezuela.
Born and raised. When did you come to the States?
I was 12.
12 years old?
Yeah, in 2002.
All right. Wow. So you were born and raised in Venezuela only till 12? Though.
Only till 12, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, which doesn't, looking back on it, it doesn't sound like a long time, and it really wasn't a long time.
Right.
But my parents both being Venezuelan, and, me growing up in a Venezuelan household, I feel very Venezuelan.
Oh, sure.
And I used to go back a lot in my early years.
Sure.
So.
And you are teaching at South Walton High School.
Yes.
And you also do a lot with English second language.
Yes.
And I mean more than just in the schools. I mean, you're working hard to get parents to understand the goals of reading and the importance of how my kids had a first grade teacher in elementary school that used to say, leaders are readers.
That's so funny because I remember my first grade teacher very well. My teacher, her name was Natalie, and I remember that she was the one that taught me to read. And when I got to the U.S. and went to university, I reached back out to her. I found her on Facebook, and I reached out to her, and I was just so thankful. I just told her, thank you so much for teaching me to love reading, because this has made me who I am today. And yeah, part of my goal as a teacher is to kind of instill that love of reading in my students. I love that I've seen it dwindled a little bit. It's kind of gone away a little bit. So I just want to re-spark that.
I think that's amazing. My mother taught first grade for like 20 something years.
Oh, wow.
And then she went into, I think, licensing daycare centers and then healthcare equipment with the state of Georgia, which was quite the change.
Absolutely.
But she loved, the thing she loved most about, and I remember saying this, the thing she loved most about first grade and teaching first grade is helping kids learn to read.
Yeah. That's when you do it.
Right.
And I've been lucky enough that I have two boys at home. My oldest is in first grade now, and I taught him how to read in Spanish at home. So I've been lucky that I have had that opportunity to teach first graders too through my son. And I taught him at home every Saturday. Every day when he gets home, we learn the letter names and sounds in Spanish. And now he's reading fluidly, like probably better than my husband. So it's really exciting.
Right. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So you've got, you're teaching them, though, to read in Spanish, which I think is so cool because that's how you kept your culture coming to the States.
Yes.
At 12, your family spoke Spanish in the home?
Only Spanish at home.
Only Spanish in the home?
And it's always been a rule of us. Me and my husband are both Spanish speakers. My husband's Mexican. We speak Spanish at home, and that's our rule. Spanish is the only language we speak at home. And we don't do it to, discriminate or bash English at all. But we know that when you're bilingual in another country, it's very easy to lose a language if you don't practice it. So we're very adamant in building that second language culture at home. So my kids watch Disney movies in Spanish, they read in Spanish, all the music they listen to is in Spanish, and then that's all they hear when they get home.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I mean, some of my most, the people that I see that I feel like they're so like the heightened education or maybe even more critical thinkers, a lot of times they're second.
Yeah, they're bilingual.
They're bilingual.
Bilingual brains are like super brains.
Sure.
So we know everything in two languages. So
right.
I know that sometimes we sound silly, sometimes our accent comes out and we sound like we don't know that much, but really it's because our brain is processing things all the time in two languages.
I want to make sure that if you like what we're doing, I mean, again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You wouldn't believe that most of you, and I see it because you'll comment and you don't even realize that you haven't subscribed to the show. It is a free way to support what we're doing and the content we're putting out. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button right now. Did you learn English when you were 12 years old?
I did.
So you learned it really when you came here?
I didn't know a lick of English when I moved to the United States.
What's it like coming to another country like that?
It is terrifying.
Is it?
It is the scariest thing. I couldn't even tell you what my brain was going through when we were on the airplane here. I was asking my mom silly questions like, is there ketchup there? Like, do they have salt? And she was like, Valentina, you've been to the United States before. I'd been here before. Wow. But I was so nervous that my brain couldn't process it all. And then, like, any immigrant who's come at a young age and has started school here will tell you that the scariest day is your first day of school. We all remember it. I'm scarred for life. Just being thrown into, like, a school bus, not knowing where to sit, not knowing... we don't have school buses in Venezuela, so not knowing the culture.
Just to be clear, it's tough for every kid in America first time.
Yes.
Even English speaking.
And then imagine, like, I've never seen a bus in my life before.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what that was about. We get dropped off in cars in Venezuela, and if you drive a bus or if you ride a bus in Venezuela, it's the public bus that everyone else and their mom is driving. So it's super different.
So the idea of a school bus,
it's non-existent.
It's non-existent.
It's non-existent. So that in and of itself was super scary. But, it was rough. It was a rough first few days, but I encountered really beautiful people on my first days of school that invited me to sit with them in the cafeteria. It was in 7th grade.
That's what, so 12, yes, is about right in 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a middle school weird area.
Middle school is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. But, I am very blessed to have a linguist as a mother. My mom is a speech pathologist.
Oh, wow.
And she's multilingual. And she, from a very young age, spoke to me in French and English. So not that I speak French, but I understand a lot of it. And then I had that, like, second language in me, I feel like. So it was very easy for me to learn the second language. I learned it in 6 months, and I was exited from, like, the bilingual program. And then I kind of just immersed. It's kind of what you do. Yeah,
I imagine so. A lot of times, I think, as Americans, there's probably, it's a hot topic right now, immigration, and it's all over the place. And so I'm really glad we're having this conversation. I think a lot of times as Americans, we can think, how do you assimilate? Because you do. There's no way you can continue to keep everything in your culture.
It's a mode of survival. It is. You can tell that there are people that haven't assimilated. Like my father is 70 years old. When he moved to the States, he was, in his late 40s. So it was hard. It's
more
hard
of his
for
life
him.
in another country.
Exactly.
Than
so,
here.
When you hear him speak English, it's super broken or a very thick accent. He's a very, competent reader. He reads, the New York Times and the Washington Post every single day in English. Yes. So he's very capable, but, you know, his accent comes across really thick. And, you know, he's not necessarily culturally American. He's just always, you know, kept his roots. But I think for younger, you know, kids, we have to survive. It's survival of the fittest out there in high school and middle school. So you have to do what you have to do. And that means, you know, dressing in a certain way, speaking in a certain way.
Learning all the slang.
You have to. You have to. Right. I remember we were going to my 8th grade dance, and one of my best friends at the time, Stacy, she said, hey, Val, do you think we can crash at your house, like, after the dance? And I just looked at her, and I was like, what are you talking about? Crash? And she was like, well, you know, sleep over. And I was like, well, like, speak English to me. Like, I don't know what you're saying. So, like, you know, I had to.
Right.
I didn't want to look dumb all the time.
Right. So when your friends would come over, what are some of the differences that they would notice at your home?
Oh my goodness, they felt
Food,
like
right?
they
sure.
felt like they were in a foreign class.
Really?
Not a foreign class, in a foreign country.
Okay.
Every time they stepped into our house, from the decorations on the walls, from the food, like you mentioned, the music, everything was Venezuela in there.
But
great. They loved it.
Yeah.
My friends from high school loved it. Their parents loved it. They loved coming to birthday parties and reunions and get-togethers. It was great.
What are some of the things you noticed at your friend's house, or even in our country, that aside from the language, were there anything that came out that, you noticed the buses?
Yeah, the buses
was a big deal.
That was a big difference. The school, all of the school was super different. Like going into a big cafeteria and eating like that, and lining up with your trays to get food. Like it just doesn't look like that back home.
Okay.
Back home, you bring your own food, or you buy in like a little cafeteria place, but it's not, it's like more snacks. You don't have like heavy meals or anything at school. The school times were different. We would get out of school at 12:30 in Venezuela, and we don't get out here till 3. And then going into my friend's house, it was, houses are very different in Venezuela than here.
Sure.
We, as a culture, we are very cognizant of decorations and of traditions, and we have maybe wall art that looks a certain way. And then coming into my friend's house in high school, they just felt like there were places where you come and sleep and you leave, like not necessarily like a home. So that was different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think it's cultural, because down here in the South, I see a lot more similarities to my house. Like Jen's house, I feel like it's my house.
Okay.
But I grew up in the Northeast in Delaware, so it's just a different vibe.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Very
the houses
interesting.
were different for sure.
Make sure you support my boys here at Floors.com. We're in their studio right now. That's FLOOR. Z.com, baby. Floors.com. They will take care of all your remodeling and new build needs. Floors.com. Check them out. Tell them the Jabroni sent you. True North Pest Control, they take care of all them critters. You got palmetto bugs, they take care of them. You got ants, they got you. You got bugs little flying around, they'll spray for them. They clean out all the cobwebs. They're all over Central Florida, here in the Emerald Coast, and then the whole state of Georgia. Check them out, TrueNorthPestControl.com. They are your pest control superheroes. When we should have asked you this first, but what caused your family to pick up from Venezuela and come to the country?
So I mentioned that my mom was a speech pathologist, and she actually got her master's degree in Boston, and it was sponsored by the Venezuelan government. They sent her to get her master's degree. When she went back to Venezuela, she was highly qualified for her job. And I guess she entered some sort of like recruitment page for speech pathologists, and she was hired to come to the U.S. as a bilingual speech pathologist.
Wow.
So she brought us
for opportunity.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great.
She just kind of, it was a weird time for us. In 1998, President Chavez was elected to power in Venezuela, and I don't know if you're familiar with Chavez a little bit.
Yeah.
But at
Hugo, right?
Yeah, Hugo Chavez. At the time in 1998, he was elected democratically, but my parents never voted for him. They didn't like what he stood for. especially because 10 years before he had led a coup d'etat against the government and he was imprisoned.
Yeah.
So how can you support someone that took arms against the government was kind of, my parents' reasoning. My dad is a historian, so it was 2002 when we moved to the U.S. And by 2002, we were seeing some of our liberties curtailed in Venezuela. Like the radio stations were being closed down and the TV stations were being banned.
They were taking over media?
They were taking over media. That's the first sign of a totalitarian government.
What does that mean, though?
That means that the government is afraid of freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that they do is they close down all of the outlets where a person can speak what they think or they can criticize the government. Mm-hmm. And so those were the first things that we were seeing going away. And it was a scary time.
It's strange you say that because here in our country.
Oh my goodness, I'm getting goosebumps.
there are folks that would say that's not happening, and then there are folks that are saying we're watching our government sue media.
Yes.
And we've got this whole if you hear something you don't like, we just call it fake news.
Yep.
So it's weird.
It is.
I don't know that we're at Venezuelan levels.
I think history repeats itself.
But
yeah, it's cyclical.
People try it all the time.
People try it all the time. And I must say that whenever I saw the current administration do what it's doing, I've always told my husband, I've always told Jen that this is very scary because it's very similar to what happened back home. Even though they're very different ends of the spectrum, the political spectrum, I think the ends of the political spectrum are two faces of the same thing.
Oh yeah, so I say it's different sides of the same coin.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Right.
So at that time that was happening in Venezuela, my mom received this opportunity. So she could have never imagined what Venezuela was going to turn into. No one could have imagined that we were going to be a failed state 30 years later. But she took the opportunity thinking, well, maybe this is good for my family. And 3 years turned into 23 years.
Wow.
And here we are. Yeah.
And does it, for your dad and your mom, do they look at Venezuela and think it's just not what it used to be? Are they there? Do they see hope?
My mom is the most, she says she was born with democracy.
Okay.
She was born on January 21st, 1958, which was, I think, 1 or 2 days after a dictatorship had been abolished in Venezuela. So it was
this is a thing.
This is a thing. It actually happened. So she really was born with democracy. Wow. And she believes that, that the regime will come down. She believes that Maduro and the Chavez regime will have an end. And she's always reading the news. She's always, right now it's, the Venezuelan news, you can't really read it on the newspaper because we have no newspaper.
Right.
So everything is on social media. Thank God for social media. If not, Venezuela wouldn't have freedom
I'm surprised they haven't cut that.
Well, they cut the internet. That's what they do. Which is why
Starlink and things like that are probably
which is why Elon Musk sometimes turns on. I don't know anything about the internet. I just want to put that out there. But
he hits a literal button.
Or something.
He literally flips a switch.
Exactly, and then there's internet. So I don't know how that works specifically. But yes, the social media has been the only outlet where we receive news from Venezuela. So she's always on it. She's always tweeting because she's just hopeful. She wants to go back. And my dad sees it more romantically. He just misses home. We left a huge house in the mountains down there. That was just gorgeous. And actually, my brother went back. Is
he back?
He's been there for about 5 years now.
Wow.
He's just everyone and their mother, everyone is leaving Venezuela, but he's coming back to Venezuela because he just could not.
He loved it so much.
He loved it. He just wanted to be home.
Did you do university here?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go to university?
At the University of Delaware for my bachelor's, and I got my master's degree from Florida International.
Oh, wow. So down in Miami.
In Miami.
Which is also interesting. I don't know if people know this, but it feels like kind of south of Orlando or Tampa, it becomes very much a bilingual state.
Oh, it's,
right?
It's Latin America. We call it the capital of Latin America. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, it was the first time that I could actually speak Spanish at the grocery stores and at the
wherever you go
since I moved to the States. So that was really cool for me. I love the experience in Miami.
Wow. And what brought you to the Panhandle of Florida and the Emerald Coast?
It's kind of a weird story, but my husband, I mentioned, is Mexican, but he's actually from the Tijuana, San Diego area.
Yep.
So I had moved to Tijuana to live with him, and I was looking for a job in San Diego, but I'm not competitive there. Everyone else is bilingual and went to school for the same reason as I did in San Diego. So I wasn't finding any opportunities, so we decided to move to Delaware.
Okay.
So we drove across the country in our little Ford Fiesta.
Wow.
It was really
And
fun
it
trip.
made it.
It made it. It was brand new, though. I
Okay.
must say it was brand new. That's
Okay.
why it made it. 2016. And we settled down in Delaware, and then winter came. Mm-hmm. And David looked at me and said, I cannot live here. Like,
It's not going to happen.
I cannot. Like, he's a California boy.
It also makes sense.
It
Like,
makes perfect
somehow you
sense.
adapted. But were you from the mountains, so you'd have
I was
polar
from the
climate.
mountains. I had colder, maybe not snow.
Right.
But I didn't mind it.
Well, you're also a kid. Kids
was
are
a kid.
adaptable when that happens. Your mother's
Yes.
there for an opportunity. You're adaptable.
We had to adapt. We didn't have a choice.
I know people that grew up like in Indiana. I have a really good friend of mine that grew up in Indiana, and at some point he's like, "I'm an adult. I don't have to go through
You
these
don't
winters.
have to live
I don't
here."
have to do this."
Exactly. I think that's kind of what it was. He was like, I
Right.
just can't do it. So we started looking for jobs anywhere
Right.
that wasn't Delaware. And I actually found a job at Troy University in Alabama.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I know. So I came down to Troy.
Now what was your second culture shock to America?
that was my first impression of the South.
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah.
I've been to Miami, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's the South. I mean, not.
Well, Troy is a college town, but it's also super rural, right? It's
There
tough.
are still like slave barracks in some areas of
Really?
Troy. Like you drive by the town and
Not in use.
Not in use. No, abandoned. But they're still up. And
So
that
there's
was
still stuff-
very shocking to me.
Yeah.
And like liquor stores don't open on Sundays and little things that I feel like anyone who grew up in the South, like you grew up in Georgia, you probably don't think about those things. But
No,
I
I
come
would.
from a very
You're totally-
liberal, like Northeast.
Yeah.
And then from Venezuela, which is completely different. So it was like a double shock. I couldn't understand half the people talking to me with their accents. So I was there for a little bit in Troy University. I think Troy University is a fantastic institution.
I hear great things. I know a lot of friends
But
that
I was
graduated.
pregnant at the time.
Oh, well,
And-
then you didn't.
And I wasn't going to raise my kids there. I just
Yeah.
felt like it wasn't like the right fit for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad actually came down to visit me. I was by myself because David had to finish a contract up in Delaware. So my dad came down to visit me, and he said, why don't we go down to those beaches that we've heard about in the South? So we drove down to Destin.
Yeah.
And we were crossing the bridge from Destin over Crab Island, and I looked down to the water, and I turned around and I said to my dad, Dad, this is Venezuela. Like, this water looks exactly like Los Juanes de Venezuela. And he was like, oh my God, you're so right. And I said, I'm moving here. He was like, no, you have a contract. You signed a contract. And I just said, I don't care. I am moving
Okay.
to here. And so I applied. I applied to jobs, and I applied for a job for David as well. And we both got jobs teaching.
So I know where we're moving. I've already gotten you a job.
He was like, okay. we started as aides at the schools because we weren't certified to teach yet. So
By
I
the
was
way,
a
to your
bilingual
husband,
aide.
the fact that he said okay is a great lesson to all husbands. Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yes.
universal
He was
to all languages.
Blindly supportive of me, which I'll always be thankful for. Today's actually our anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. So yes, he
How
was
many years?
amazing. 14.
14. My wife and I celebrated in February 25 years of
Oh
marriage.
my gosh.
So,
That's lovely. I love anniversaries. I think it's a celebration of commitment.
Of course, yeah. Marriage isn't easy.
It's not easy.
It's hard.
Yes.
And that's hard for people. And if you speak in two languages, you can argue twice as good,
my
right?
God.
So
And
it's
I have
very
to be in the
hard.
mood for him to speak to me in English. Sometimes I'm like, don't speak to me in English.
Was that harder? Does it make it harder to decipher?
No, it's.
Or does anger come out better in Spanish?
I think it's the anger comes out better in Spanish. So when I feel like when he's speaking English, sometimes he's like using his teacher voice, and I'm like,
Oh,
do
wow.
not do the English with me right now.
That's so good. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Code switch a lot. That's what you call it, code switch, when you're switching between a language and the other. We don't even notice when we're code switching.
So you might have a conversation speaking in two languages
Yes.
at the same time.
All the time. People point it out all the time, and they say, well, you were just speaking Spanish, and then like now you threw in English, so I picked that up, and I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just
To me, it's a fascinating story to come and to pick up. I mean, I think your parents to say there's an opportunity in another country, and we're going to take our
Yes.
children, our whole family, and uproot them and come to another country.
Yeah.
That
Bold.
is bold.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't do that a lot, but
No.
that was opportunity.
Well, it kind of feels like everyone's an immigrant nowadays. I don't know if you get the feeling, but I'm in the immigrant community, so I feel like everyone's an immigrant. But it's very seldom that we meet people that have been here as long as we have. You know, the immigrants that we're running into, especially here in Santa Rosa Beach,
Yeah.
are recent immigrants.
Really?
So they're going through those first few. There's like stages to immigration, kind of like there's stages of grief.
Help the audience kind of understand, because stages of grief.
There is.
Yeah, so that's
And-
funny you say that, because it's an arduous process. I mean, some
It
places
is.
are easy. I think every country has an immigration process.
Yes.
Our process varies from other countries. Some would say it's harder. Some would say it's easier.
Yeah.
It just depends on which country we're applying it to. But coming into the country, what do people typically have to do when they want to come to our country?
Well, like you said, it varies greatly, but you have to come to the United States with a visa. That's the main knowledge. But there's different types of visas.
Okay.
So we came with my mom under a work visa.
Okay.
She was recruited by a company to come.
Right.
But for a company to recruit someone to come, they have to show that there's actually a lack of people qualified to do that job in the States before they can recruit from out of the country.
Okay,
So
perfect.
it's actually very difficult.
Yeah.
And a company also has to pay for part of the immigration process
To bring a
to
person
bring a
through.
person through. So it is also expensive.
Okay, but not always for the person they're hiring. It's expensive for a company
It's
to do.
expensive for the company and for the person that they're
So
hiring.
okay.
So it's both sides have to pay.
Okay.
So what I'm saying this because it's very difficult for a company to do it, and there's not a lot of incentives for a company to do it.
You really have to need
Exactly. You have to be in great need.
great need.
And the person has to be like super overqualified for you to want to bring them in.
What do I hear? That so-and-so came on a work visa.
Well, there's also like rural work.
Okay.
And I feel like those visas are more unheard of.
Okay.
Because there's more people that are gonna do rural work here because you don't have to be overly qualified to do that.
Okay.
So there are those types of visas, and I'm not 100% knowledgeable with all the different qualifications for it.
Well, let's go with the standard
The
visa.
standard
yeah.
visa is a tourist visa.
And that's how people traditionally enter into the country.
Traditionally enter, but that's a very difficult visa to get. So to get a tourist visa, you have to have a certain amount of money in your bank home.
Okay.
You have to show that you have a steady job and that you're not gonna stay in the United States for any reason.
Okay.
You have so you have to have a certain purchasing power
Okay.
in order to be able to get a work visa. I mean, a tourist
tourist
visa. And I know a lot of people that have actually been denied a tourist visa for X and Y reason.
Right.
My uncle that lives in Gainesville, his son, he has 3 sons, and he has one son that for 10 years was denied a tourist visa to come visit him.
So he couldn't visit his dad?
He couldn't visit his dad.
So tourist visa would be similar to me saying so if I want to go to Spain right now,
Right.
I have a passport.
Right.
I don't apply for anything. I don't say anything. I show up on vacation. I could stay a couple weeks if
Because
I wanted
those
to.
countries are in accordance with each other. Like they have
Okay.
they have some sort of treaty, or I forgot the name, the word for it.
So Spanish, if I'm a Spaniard from Spain, I could come to America for a few weeks and have a vacation?
Yes, but you still have to fill out a different type of visa. That's
Wow.
like a visa for Europeans. So it's
This
some
does
sort
feel
of,
like different stages of grief.
it is hard.
Yeah.
So you have to fill out some sort of, I don't know, there's forms for everything that you can think of. You have to fill
So-
out the form, it has to be accepted, and then you can come as a European.
Okay.
But I don't want to say Latin American, but as a person from other countries that are not European, it is the
more
other
difficult.
qualifications that I told you about
You've gotta have that.
apply. Exactly.
So I'm from, let's just choose Mexico. I'm from Mexico. I want my family to have better opportunities. I'm not going to be a tourist.
right.
I'm going to find work. Maybe I've got a family that is willing to sponsor me. Maybe there's a citizen that's willing to sponsor me. What is that visa like? What does that process look like? Is that process even open?
I've never heard of.
Never even heard of that
No.
sort of thing. So really, it would have to be like a hardship.
It has
like
to be-
asylum. Is that what, like asylum
Yeah, so-
seeking?
Yes. So you can come as under a student visa, right? But like the tourist visa, the student visa also requires some sort of economic status because
Okay.
you have to even be accepted into a program, and the school actually has to want to give you the student visa.
Okay.
So those are more difficult. But you can also come as an asylum seeker. But in the past, you could show up into the United States, whether you bought your ticket through a tourist visa or whether you show up at the
Student visa.
any
work
any
visa,
type
doesn't
of
matter.
visa,
You're
or
here.
even if you showed up at the border and you said, I want to claim asylum.
Okay.
In the past, the United States will let you in so that you could do your asylum process
While you're in the country.
you were in the country safe, right? Because obviously anyone that claims asylum, you have a reasonable doubt to think that their life is in danger back home. But recent changes have made it so that you cannot
Can't come
come
in and get
in while
asylum.
you're an asylum
Okay.
seeker. So a lot of people are sitting, in Mexico. They're not Mexican, but they're sitting in Mexico waiting
Wow.
for a process that it's
Right now, it's not happening.
It's
all right. They're not letting anybody.
I
in.
have students that have claimed asylum and 5 years later are still waiting for their first appointment.
Sure.
So the system is completely collapsed.
No, it's.
at this point.
I mean, yeah. I think I was talking to someone actually on the podcast. I think it was 1890 was the last time we've really had any big immigration reform. So it's been a long time. This country's tried it. I think under Reagan, the Reagan administration, I think gave amnesty to people at one point in time. So we have done that,
Yes.
even by a Republican controlled
Yes.
country at the time under Ronald Reagan. But we have done that to just try to kind of level set. Like if you've been here long enough, you've done certain things or whatnot,
Yeah.
we can just give you asylum. So we've done those sorts of things before. I mean, we're pretty divided right now. I don't think anybody's like pitching asylum. So I don't know if
It's
we've got
gonna
any
be
of that.
tough.
But I do know I've heard of stories of people having green cards and then hearing
Yeah.
there's some problems and then taking 2-3 years to set appointments to even check on it. So
Yeah,
it's an arduous process.
It's so difficult, and
Yeah.
I think what the main thing that people have to understand is that there is not a one-stop solution to all of this.
No, right.
And there isn't just a one-way ticket to just do it legally. Like it is very, very,
Very hard,
difficult to do it legally, and
It's maybe impossible right now. Right now, I don't know if they're even doing the courts. They're stamping anybody's papers. I don't know if you could.
nothing is happening right now.
Right. Right.
Well, what's happening right now is that a lot of people are being forcibly removed.
Well, yeah.
That's
hot topic.
It's
hot
but
topic.
It's,
But when you feel like you were talking about your First Amendment rights. We're having American citizens that are
Right.
having the Fourth Amendment rights, Sixth Amendment rights. I mean, we're seeing Second Amendment rights. I mean, there are a lot
Everything's been
of
violated.
rights that I personally as an American really hold near and dear to me. And so anytime somebody's touching on people's rights, that's something that should bother all Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a topic where it takes more of a scalpel than it does a sledgehammer.
Yes.
We really
Yes.
need to go in and
Deep.
and into the nuances, but nobody's actually been really willing to take a handle on this in
Yeah.
decades. Every president just passes it down.
And I honestly think that the whole issue with this topic is that we keep seeing it as a problem.
Yeah.
But I don't actually think immigration is a problem. Like immigration is something that's been happening naturally for thousands of years across the world.
Sure.
And
sure.
we have to be very understanding of the fact that this country was actually built by immigrant hands, whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And we celebrate the European immigrants as our forebears, but your forebears are also immigrants from Central and South America and Asia that came here to build the country.
At one point in time, there wasn't, dividing lines and borders. And
Exactly.
So
it was open and fluid.
Texas was Mexican at one point in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think what people have to understand is that no one in their right mind wants to leave their home. Like, I didn't want to leave my home.
Right.
But if we had easier movement between borders, I think that a lot of people would come and work and would go back home, actually. But
I mean, traditionally, asylum seekers don't. If you look at the maps, so if you were to look at especially European asylum seekers, and we think about some of these countries, traditionally most of them find asylum in countries near their war-torn country.
Exactly.
There's very few that come to America. Because most of them want to get just outside the country, get it safe, and wait for the violence to stop so they can go back to their homeland and where their heritage is and their culture, and they want to bring it back.
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's a lot of times, I think we don't realize that sometimes, that if we can just help our neighbors out.
Exactly.
The other question I have is, I don't know your answer, but just sitting here chatting with you, I bet I probably do. Because the other topic I hear from people that would say that immigration's broken, and I think both sides would say it's broken. It's just how do they want to fix it, right? And there's some people that are, I think, deportation is the hottest topic too, even outside of immigration.
Yeah.
How, as someone who's immigrated to the country, when someone violates our laws, especially, and I don't mean traffic tickets, right? I don't mean, speeding and, or showing up late to a court date or something like that, or not paying a fine. I mean, robbery, burglary, even felony crimes in the sense of those things. Do you think they should lose their rights? I mean, to be in that country? I mean, because I'm not sure.
I always ask myself this question, and it's at what point are we as immigrants actually American? There's not an answer. Like, I've lived here for 23 years, and I've had my 2 children here. Am I American? Or is my citizenship still something that could be stripped from me because I wasn't born here?
Yeah, so I would say once you have your citizenship, you ought to be American. And there is a process to citizenship, but it's even more arduous than just getting your green card.
Well, you have to have a green card in order to have a citizenship. You have to have it for 10 years.
10 years, okay.
Yes.
And then you can get your citizenship.
Yes. So, I mean, I guess to answer your question is that if we allow people to come here and they are here, with the right documentation and they commit a crime, well, shouldn't they be in jail in the country where they committed the crime?
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's a tough question. I mean, I will tell you personally, I'm not sure. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. If you're here as a guest of our country, and if let's just say everything was perfect, and we had better broader visa access, our system was running flawlessly, but you're here as a guest, you've not made it past whatever standard we feel like you could become a citizen. Let's just say everything ran perfectly, which we know doesn't in any government.
Right.
But let's say they did all that right. And as a guest, you've committed something that's pretty heinous. I mean, I don't know if we should be housing you for another 20 years or 30 years in prison and all of those. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it goes back to the Reformation system that we have in the United States. Like, do we truly believe that it's going to reform and do better for society? Or is it just a place where we think we're dumping our tax dollars and it's going to waste?
As far as criminal reformation, well, I mean, look, we're not reforming well in the country. But you see what I'm saying?
Like, because if it was a Reformation center, right, why would we want to put that person back into another country where they're just going to roam free because they didn't commit the crime in the other country, right?
I don't know. Do they go to jail there? I don't know.
Why
I guess
would
not.
they?
I don't know. That's a good
Do you
question.
see what
I don't
I'm
know.
saying?
Yeah,
so if
yeah.
there is that,
Sure.
so why would you want to
Sure.
let that person be free
Sure.
where they should be paying for their crimes or becoming reformed under our so-called, penal reformation
Well,
system?
I mean, our criminal justice, we could go on and on about that because, it's run by private entities now. So, I don't know.
It's
if
a very
we're about
complicated
it.
topic.
It's a business.
Exactly.
We do a lot of things in this country really well, and then there's lots of nuances that I would like to see. I have a really good friend of mine that works in Washington, D.C., and he's worked tirelessly on prison reform because it is a very big thing.
So complicated.
We jail and house more people in this country than we might as well. We jail more people in this country than any other country on the planet.
Wow.
And a lot of times over crime.
More than Russia?
I think so.
Wow.
I mean, now there's probably better conditions. Probably better conditions, though. So I'd have to look that statistic up and maybe post editing. I'll post. But
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken, we do more than any other country on the planet. But let's get into. You're at South Walton now.
Yes.
So and you have. I love that you're teaching English second language.
Yes.
And you have a big press, which you're doing right now, in getting into the homes of these immigrant families, these families that are here on these visas, these families that are here on green cards,
Yes.
these families that are learning to assimilate, and you're helping them to have books in Spanish that they can read to their children,
Yes.
and I assume English at some point as well too,
Yes.
a little mixture.
Well, I'm going to correct you that I'm primarily a Spanish teacher.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay.
I teach the higher levels of Spanish. I teach AP Spanish language and AP Spanish literature, and I teach Spanish for Spanish speakers.
Oh, wow.
But as a sidekick
sidekick.
class, I've been given an ESOL class.
Okay.
So my number one interaction with these students is actually in Spanish.
Okay.
And what I've come to find is that a lot of my students have a gap in learning, whether it was because of COVID or whether it was because they were, moving from one country to the other. But there's like elementary age years that they have missed, and they don't have a strong foundation in Spanish as their language. And so if you can't read and write in your home language, it is very difficult to learn to read and write in a second language.
Wow, okay.
There has to be a strong foundation. And if you think about it, it's like that with anything,
no, it
right?
makes sense.
Exactly.
If you want to tell me to conjugate a verb, I need to know how to do it in English.
Exactly. So that you can connect, because learning is about making connections. So if you can make a connection to what you know, then you're going to pick it up fast, which is why I think I learned English so fast. I had a very, very strong Spanish. So English was easy for me. So my students aren't able to necessarily read in Spanish fluidly or write in Spanish, fluidly. So my mission, and I've imposed this on myself. No one has told me to do this. I blame myself for all the extra work I have, is to teach them to be critical thinkers through reading. And I've turned my classes into literature classes, and they hate me for it at the beginning, but I have a group right now who is in their fourth year, they're seniors, and I had them as ninth graders in the Spanish for Spanish speakers class, and they look at me and they say, Miss P, like, you taught me how to read in Spanish. You taught me how to read and write in Spanish. And they are immensely, proud of themselves. And now they're taking a literature class as a second semester class in college, and we're reading classic literature from Spain and the world. So it's a really huge success. So
that's amazing.
My whole thing is, and I don't want it to sound like I don't want them to read English or learn English, but I want them to be proud and to feel successful at something.
Yeah.
When you are an immigrant and you don't know a second language, it is really hard for you to succeed academically. It's almost impossible at the beginning. Like, I failed my first year of middle school, 7th grade.
Really?
Yeah, of course, straight Fs. It was so hard. And so these kids already feel like a failure every single day, sitting in every single one of their classes. Wow. So I wanted to give them a class where they felt like they could succeed, where they could think, where they could, argue, where they could be heard. And that's kind of the culture I've tried to build in my classroom. and I think it's been very successful. Albeit it hasn't necessarily been recognized by the school. So little by little, I have less and less of those classes that I'm teaching.
Okay.
And I'm going more towards the ESOL part. But the ESOL part is harder for me because I'm an expert at teaching Spanish in a high level, so now I have to teach English in a low level. So making that switch is hard.
And that's English. ESOL is English as a second language.
Yes, sir.
And these are students that have come into our country, visas, green cards.
Well, I'm going to also explain that to you.
Yeah, please.
A lot of our students and a lot of our families here locally dream of a green card. Like, that is not something.
Their goal.
That is,
but it's a dream.
It's a dream. And many of them are also not here on visas.
Oh, wow. So they just come in to the country.
They came in, most of them under the Biden administration, where they could claim asylum and then be housed in the United States.
And also, I think Obama handled things the same way.
Okay, so
I think he did too. I don't know. Trump was not, well, we know where he's been. He's definitely been more of a hardliner.
Yes. And I don't remember necessarily if it was in his first term that he closed the border. So no, yeah. So it was Obama. They came under Obama and Biden.
Obama.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so they are here in a legal limbo, we want to call it.
Yeah, okay.
They are here. They're not here undocumented.
They're documented.
But it's not a document either.
I understand.
It's a process. They're under a process.
They have like an some number. They do have a number.
I-761 or something.
Like that, yeah.
I can't remember the number. So they can't work and they don't have Social Security numbers. So they're just waiting.
So you only get because I know people that have they must have gotten a green card if they got
you can get a Social Security number once immigration starts your process application.
Okay.
And so they say, well, we're processing it. While we're processing it, you can get a Social Security number and a work permit.
Okay.
But I know one student.
Wow.
Yes. So it's hard. So a lot of these kids are in limbo. They're just kind of waiting. And so.
And these children.
Yes. They have to report to immigration. Every few months, they have to speak with lawyers. They are going through hell, and they're still expected to show up to school and learn.
Wow.
It is very difficult for them.
Because they don't know if they're going to be here the next day.
They don't know.
They don't know if they got a home to go back to.
They don't know.
They may or may not have been on board with coming to the country in the first place.
Most of us don't want to come,
I mean, they left all their friends and
here
they're
young, like I was. They came in middle school.
Oh, they could have been here. They could have been here 6-7 years at this point.
Yes.
Wow.
So
you're dealing with emotional stress.
Yes.
You're dealing with anxiety. You're dealing with not knowing the language.
And then there's another group of students who were born here, but their parents are here undocumented.
Oh, wow.
So they are here, passports, everything, but their parents are not.
And so they could lose their parents?
Yes.
And then they would be, 16, 17-year-olds here by themselves?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Well, and I guess that's my frustration, too, is that we have all of these things that are happening.
Yeah.
Many of these families, and you're dealing with families that are a lot like mine or yours, that love their children, want to work hard.
They're hard workers.
Seeking asylum, came over here.
Yeah.
And they are just in a limbo.
And we also have families that are here without nothing. They just came in.
Wow.
Who knows how? There's ways.
Are they working? They got to be working somehow, right? They're working.
They're all working. They're
day labor type jobs.
Yeah, they're working in construction.
Skill jobs like that.
Yeah, they're working in construction, or they're working in the cleaning business, or they're. Some of them have their own businesses.
Are those jobs available to them? I mean, because I keep hearing immigrants take so many jobs and this, that, and the other. But
and see, that's a big myth because, and I always say, if there weren't jobs, people wouldn't come. Come on, let's be real.
Right.
Why are you going to come to a place where you're not going to work? You might as well stay home if you're not going to work.
I've always felt like competition, cream rises to the top. Competition's good.
But I don't think that well, I don't know, and I may be wrong on this, but I think that they're doing a lot of the jobs that people don't
That
want to do.
Americans aren't doing.
That they just don't want to do.
Nobody's
them.
signing up to it.
Nobody
Yeah.
wants to do that.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
It is. The cleaning world is a hard
And
work.
construction work is very hard.
A dedicated, hard job.
A lot of them, I have parents that have worked in the chicken factories in Alabama, and so there's an immense industry in this country that runs off undocumented workers. I have studied it deeply.
Are they paying taxes?
The companies?
Undocumented workers.
Well, undocumented workers pay the same sales tax that we all pay.
100%.
100%. And that's a big amount of money.
Their paycheck, if they get a paycheck.
That's the thing, they don't get a paycheck.
They don't get a paycheck.
So that's the beauty of an undocumented worker.
Okay.
So if you, as a company, have an undocumented worker, you can't pay him with a
You have to do it
a
cash
check,
under the table.
because no
sort of
one
thing.
can know that you hired them.
Interesting.
So it's cash under the table. In Delaware, there used to be a system of Catholic sisters that would help the immigrant community to do their taxes through an EIN number.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
And it was very, my dad
Because you can still pay your taxes if you want.
Exactly, you can, or if you know how to.
If you know how to, yeah.
And I think that's the big caveat here. In Delaware, we had that system to support immigrants, so a lot of immigrants actually pay their taxes. But down here, we don't have any sort of community
that's helping
immigrants navigate this situation.
I think Americans don't realize too is that we're in a declining population in America. As naturally born Americans, we are giving birth to less children than our generations in the past. And so if we fast forward in 30 or 40 years, I mean, we will be declining without any sort of real immigration.
But we're not like immigrants are not.
Right.
We're filling up.
Right. And so we've got to figure it out.
We
and
have to.
We've got to figure it out for this next generation. We cannot look like what we looked at the first part of 2026.
Right.
If every American searches their heart and soul and you see those pictures of American citizens dealing with it and young children being ripped from families, there is no American out there that wants that out there. I think if we say it's not happening, we're just putting our head in the sand.
Yeah.
So, search your heart, and it's really where we've got to do, because we need to be treating people humanely.
Yeah. That's my biggest concern. It's for the well-being of my students. They are hurting. I've had kids break down and cry to me and ask me, why do they hate us? Why do they not want us here? They're afraid to. We had a month, August of last year, we had a high number of immigration agents in the area.
Really?
Well, they were acting through the Florida Highway Patrol.
Okay.
They came in hordes. And that was 1 week of actual fear.
Wow.
Kids were not getting on the bus. They weren't coming to school. I had teachers call me and ask me what's going on. And I had to tell them straight up, they're scared. They don't want to come to school. When else in history have children been afraid to go to school?
That's crazy. That's nuts. And, as a person of faith, my faith and my Savior doesn't see people by the color of their skin or their nationality. He sees them as his children.
Right.
That's the only way he sees them. And so I have to start there. And that breaks my heart to hear anyone be scared of that situation.
But
That's terrible.
I guess the silver lining in all of this is that there are people and teachers that do love on them and support them. I mean, we're here for them. I feel like my husband's kind of tired of me bringing all this these problems home.
He's like, we just gotten our stuff straightened out.
I know. He's like, we've got our boys at home. But it's it's difficult for me to detach. I've helped many of my students navigate the DMV and get driver's licenses, which is something I am extremely excited about, because the number one reason people are getting detained is because of driving without licenses.
Yeah.
So I've been able to help a lot of them get their license, which is super exciting. I've helped them find lawyers. I've taken them to the doctor. I'm just kind of, I don't know, I'm just me and Miss Penny at the high school. We're just their moms, you know, we're just all of it for them.
I think that's so amazing, and it's so cool to have that your students have that. You know, I did career day at South Walton last year.
Oh my goodness.
And I can't tell you what teacher they put me with. So I'd have to go back and look at my records.
Oh my gosh.
But I did
That's
career
so
day,
cool.
and I happened to wear a T-shirt that said El Jefe.
Oh, nice.
On it. And came in, and I talked about, I think, entrepreneurship and things of that nature in the class, and finding their way and future. I would do an entirely different topic this year. But I remember a young man came up to me, and he spoke almost no English, but he saw my shirt.
He loved it.
And he was just, I was a friendly person. And he didn't talk to a lot of people. He didn't have a ton of friends because he couldn't speak any English.
Right.
And he started speaking just this amazing amount of fluent Spanish because it's his first language. And I was
That's
like,
beautiful.
habla no español, you know?
I love that. Yeah, that feeling of feeling welcome is not easy to get around here.
Oh, his eyes were just lit up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love
And I wish
that.
I had more. So when I was in Spanish, my Spanish teacher in high school was Miss Meadows.
Okay.
And this is the phrase that I know from Miss Meadows. Chicle en la pasora, por favor, Senor Becker. That is what I remember.
That's so funny. It's because she repeated it every single day, huh?
Every day. I needed to throw my gum in the trash.
That's really funny. That's really funny. Well, I think that...
And como se dice. I remember that one, too.
Yes. The kids... I taught lower level Spanish at the beginning of my career at South Walton, and a lot of my American speaking, you know, or English speaking students always came up with little silly phrases like that, and I love it. I mean, as long as they remember me, just like you remember your Miss Meadows, that's why we do it.
No, it was great. It was really good to learn another language. From a young kid from South Georgia. Now it's part of Metro Atlanta, but we had 3 counties in. I was the third graduating class of the third high school in my county.
Oh my gosh!
So we were exploding at the time. I think there's 9 or 10 high schools in my county, and it's very much a metropolitan Atlanta city. But back then, we could get held up by the train tracks or a cow. You know, and so coming to school, right? And so it was very much country. And so for this country guy that I don't think my parents at the time, and maybe even their parents at the time, and even going back, their parents before them had been out of their towns, you know, or their, are certainly our country.
Super small
no
town.
Passports, things of that nature. I was probably the first in my family to get a passport. My mother since has gone on cruises and other countries and things of that, and my father as well. But that wasn't even a thing. My kids all had their passports, in elementary school.
Right.
Because we want to explore this world and see that we're on this planet, with other people. So Spanish was really the first time I ever knew as a kid.
Like you encounter
that
another
other
culture.
People speak a different way.
That's so funny. Wow.
In high school. Isn't that insane?
No, that's insane. I think that, well, I can understand it just because I'm living it here. Right.
Right. So you may be their first interaction to a different culture.
Yeah, and then we do live in like a very high socioeconomic
we do
area. So a lot of my kids have traveled a lot, but this was like a one anecdote that kind of reveals like the difference, the cultural difference. I had a student in my AP Spanish language class who had to work on a project with a Spanish-speaking student. And the kid told the Spanish speaker, like, oh, well, do you want to work on this project after school? Like, we should just go to Seaside to the coffee shop. And I just looked at him and I said, honey, like, he's got to work right after school. Like, I don't think he's ever even been to Seaside. Like, he doesn't know where that is. And it was like, oh, okay.
You live in a different world in my world.
Exactly. Exactly. So even though they've traveled, they don't know the reality of their neighbor. We just don't know each other anymore.
That's
There's
so
no
true.
space for talking to each other anymore.
That's true.
But, we did have Book Carnival on Saturday.
Yes,
and
let's
that
talk
was
about that.
a place to come together.
Tell me about this book carnival, because I've heard
Yes.
about it. It's second year you've done book carnival.
Yeah, well, the first time I called it Fiesta del Libro.
I like it.
That one was smaller.
It's the Festival of the Library.
It was the Festival of the Book.
Okay.
Book Fest.
I thought I was going to nail it.
That's good. It was close. It wasn't
close.
bad. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But that one was smaller, and it was at Paget Park.
Okay.
So it was less visible to people. So only people that knew that it was happening came out. So we had about 70 families, 70 kids. I want to say 70 kids come out, which wasn't a terrible turnout for our first event. But this second one, I had the pleasure of previously working with Morag Rosa, who is I don't know what her title is, but coordinator of events at Grand Boulevard, I want to say.
Okay.
And I was able to track her down. I was very aggressive. I looked her up on Facebook, Instagram, I just tried everything until one day she responded, and I pitched her my idea, and she loved it. And so we did our second edition of, now we called it Book Carnival at Grand Boulevard this past Saturday.
Oh, that's so good.
And it was really cool.
And families that are English second language are coming in and finding books that they can read together, read with their children, understand, which is such an amazing, like you said, that foundation. But what I loved about hearing about this book club is how disconnected can families get when they are coming over here. All the stress that's going on, having to work different types of jobs, having to work at different times, longer hours, under the pressure. When do they have time as a core family unit?
Yep, to be together. It's usually on Sundays, honestly, one day a week when they come together. I'm thinking we should probably move it to a Sunday in the future, because the Saturday, a lot of people are still working. And we didn't have the biggest turnout of Hispanic families, not as big as I wanted, but still some came out.
Yeah.
And what I was going to tell you is that all of my volunteers are Spanish-speaking kids that came to help.
Really?
And the smile.
Spanish speaking as in American children Spanish speaking?
No,
or
this year, okay, so some of them are Hispanics that were born here, so they technically are American Spanish speakers.
Right.
The other majority were immigrants.
Oh, wow.
So, but they came out to volunteer, and they were so happy. Like, they were so excited to be able to, give to the community and to help the community, because this is the first community event that they've ever been to.
Oh, wow.
So it was nice to see that excitement. And these are high school kids giving out books.
Wow. Well,
Unheard of.
I was going to say, I don't care if you're an immigrant or you're an American.
Yes.
You just got some 16, 17-year-old kids to volunteer.
Exactly. Unheard of. But it was really cool, and they wanted to be there. And I think that part of it was that they felt welcome in a place. They knew that they weren't going to, be discriminated against, or anyone was going to say anything, because we were there with them.
Right now, the climate is tough, and we've talked about that a lot on this particular episode, is because I don't think about discrimination. I don't. I'm a white, male, American
You've never
guy.
experienced that, yeah.
The closest I ever had, and there's probably once or twice, a few times in my childhood. I can remember once in middle school, I have this darker complexion, and I've been told there's some Cherokee Indian. It's debatable.
Okay.
It's debatable. I did a 23andMe, and it's very debatable because it didn't show up. But the indigenous people don't show up on DNA.
Right.
So
the sample is weird.
It's weird, but
Yeah.
I have a lot of European history. But I remember in middle school, a kid used to always say that I was Chinese. And I don't know why I took that offense to it, because I felt American, and I remember saying, I'm not Chinese, man. Stop picking at me. He kept picking at me that I was a certain way. Some of it's middle school, but I remember discrimination like that.
You felt like
I felt like I was being uncomfortable.
You were being
for the
pointed
way I
out.
looked.
Yeah.
And then I remember being an adult, and I was mentoring these young black kids in high school. They were in high school, and we were going through a convenience store down in Daytona Beach, Florida. We were going through like a airbrush sort of thing, and I remember the management. I could see the eyes on us really heavy.
Wow.
And I remember saying to one of these they're probably 14, 15 years old. So it had been early high school. Like, these are 9th, 10th graders. I'm still mentor these kids to the day. I've married 2 of them.
Yeah,
7 of them have
that's
kids.
awesome.
It's really, really great. But it was my first experience because I remember saying to one of them, they are really following us. And he was like, yeah, Jay, if you hang out with us a little bit longer, you get used to it.
Oh, that's so sad.
So I remember like feeling different things, but it's always because I was adjacent.
Right.
As I leaned into other people.
Absolutely.
And seeing it. So yeah, me personally though, I don't feel it.
Right.
So what's discrimination like here for folks? I mean, you've mentioned the coffee shop. I don't think it's intentional, but that's what people don't realize.
Yeah.
Like, there's discrimination that happens. It's just totally unintentional.
Yeah.
That student certainly didn't mean to offend that kid.
Right.
But boy, does that kid feel different.
Yeah. No, they do. And I mean, when I was growing up in Delaware, I had people say to me, I consider everything south of Texas Mexico, and we should drop a bomb on it. Like things like that. That
doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel comfortable. Like, you don't feel.
Don't feel welcome.
You don't feel welcome. That's it. You don't feel welcome. But I've been lucky enough to have a decent accent where I can mask, my Venezuelanness. And I'm not of a darker complexion. So when people see me, they don't necessarily think, oh, immigrant. Or, oh, whatever. I've been lucky. I'm privileged. I always say that.
Wow.
But a lot of my students don't have that privilege. But I actually have encountered discrimination here for the first time in my life working at the high school. Like, it's been crazy. I have been told, this is America, I don't speak Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
I have been told that in a place where I was trying to help a student understand something, and I was told that. So I was deeply offended by that.
Yeah.
And the way that it was handled was played down, and I was also deeply disappointed by that. So I don't think that people realize that actions that they take or things that they say have a really deep impact on people that are not from this country.
Yeah, and I think people need to realize, even if you disagree with, and let's say we're on polar opposites of how immigration should be handled, right? And you're a polar opposite. There is never a time to not act civilly and kindly and humanely.
It could have been handled a different way. Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%. I remember it's very interesting that we use the term illegal immigrant, but we never use the term illegal, deadbeat dad. Or,
right.
or illegal, traffic violator or illegal, there's a lot of illegal terms we could use.
Yeah, going against
but
the law.
we do, so we do a lot of times we just use that and we use it as an adjective to describe another human.
Yeah.
That's I hate that term.
Oh my goodness, me too.
Because it's my first love is my Savior and my faith. That's my first love. And I think to how he would describe every human on this planet. And he'd never use the term illegal.
Right. No, absolutely.
So that's kind of weird in a sense. What is your, and by the way, I'm sorry that anyone would ever make you feel uncomfortable. Too. And the same for your students.
Yeah.
And so I hate that. I wish that I could speak more Spanish because I come and speak to them.
They would love that.
What's your hope for maybe this situation or even just your students? Let's start there. What's your hope for your students?
My hope is that they graduate high school. I mean, that's always a big hope. But I want them to continue on their studies. I want them to become
I want to ask you
professionals.
before you, and I hate to interrupt,
No, you're good.
why do you say that's the graduate high school? Is the graduation rate lower for second language?
That's a heavy question. In order to graduate high school in Florida, students have to meet 2 standardized test requirements.
Okay.
One is an ELA and one is a math.
Oh, wow. They
They-
have to. They have to.
They have
They have to.
They have to. Now, there are alternative tests that they can take to meet the same standard, but again, they are all
But
standardized.
there's still a
in
standardized
English.
test they're going to have to do in English.
In English. They cannot take it
Okay.
in their home language.
Okay.
So if you have just arrived in country, it's practically impossible for you to pass it.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why I say if.
Okay.
And we, as far as I know, haven't had that situation, but we have made sure that the student passes their exams, and they've maybe even walked graduation still without getting their diploma because they're still working on their exam. But those were cases of students that had been here for longer, so they had a bit more English to work with. They were just on the verge of passing. But some of the students we're seeing now are lower English acquisition. And so that is my hope. My hope is that they
They
pass.
pass.
And this is a burden that these kids hold since the moment they step into high school. They know that they have to pass that test. And some of them don't pass it until they're seniors. Like, you're supposed to pass it when you're a sophomore.
Oh, wow.
So they don't pass until they're seniors.
Okay.
Sometimes, I mean, we have kids taking the test tomorrow to see if they pass it, and they're graduating in a month. So that is a level of anxiety and stress that I could not imagine living with, and still having to
Wow.
perform, and still having all the immigration stuff outside of the house.
Wow.
Like I'm just talking
So,
about like.
When they leave, what are your hopes for them? What are your hopes for this country?
I hope that they will continue on their education, whether it's a technical degree or an actual, bachelor's degree. I hope that they continue to. I don't want to see them as skilled workers their entire life. I always tell them the difference between getting a degree and not getting one is weekends off, vacation time, time with your family. Like, I want them to build their families, and I want them to be able to say, I want to take a day off because I can.
Education's a bridge.
Education's the bridge to a more free life. So that for sure. And as
I love
far
what you just said, that education's a bridge to a more free life.
a more free life.
I love it.
And I think that whenever we understand that education is not just going to school, but education starts at home, then we can fully equip our children to be actually educated.
And that's where these books,
Where my project
your
comes
project comes in, and
Yes.
getting parents involved.
getting parents involved. And I haven't had quite the opportunity to speak with parents one-on-one and to tell them my reasoning for all of this. But I have had really, cute encounters with second graders that have told me that my dad reads to me every night, the book that you gave me. And I just smile. Like, that's it. That's the purpose. Or my student who told me, oh my goodness, I'm going to cry. He told me on Saturday, I gave him a book. He said, Miss P, I don't read. I don't like reading. I hate reading. And I said, please just take it. Just take it and see what happens. And when I saw him on Monday, he said, Miss P, I read half the book. It's so good. And I was tearing up. Just that. I just want them to think for themselves and to read and to grow. And I just want them to be the future of this country. And for the listeners, like, this country, our children are the future, regardless of where they come from.
100%.
Regardless of where they come from. They will be, I have kids that are graduating and they're going to become nurses. They will be the nurses of America. We have a shortage of nurses, and here are these girls who are all immigrant or of immigrant parents, and they want to be our future. They want to take care of us. So it doesn't matter where we come from or where our parents are. We're all just here to live.
Yeah. So I want to give you the last word. A lot of times I will say if there is something in your past that you've now applied that you wish you had of, maybe it's a habit, maybe it's a saying, maybe it's a discipline that you wish you had applied when you were in your 20s, that you do now. Mm-hmm. But I want to change it up a little bit. So I kind of said the question and you probably started thinking, I want to change it up a little bit.
That's okay.
You want to tell your kids anything, and I know you kind of did, your hopes and dreams for them. If you could just give them a few things that they should focus on into their future, what would it be? Mm-hmm. And could you say it both in Spanish and English?
I'll start in English, but I wish that they will focus on education. They need to forget about economic security for the moment because their job is to become educated now and in the foreseeable future until they are equipped to actually dedicate their life to working. Mm-hmm. But that would be my wish for them or my recommendation to them.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So mi recomendación es que se equipen, que estudien. Su única responsabilidad hoy en día es estudiar. Cuando ya estén listos para el mundo laboral, pueden salir a trabajar, pero el trabajo de ustedes ahora es educarse, porque la educación es lo único que nos queda.
That's amazing. Well, Miss P.
Yes, Miss P.
I want to tell you that our country is better for teachers like you.
Thank you.
And I hope that, honestly, you give me hope for this country.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you
that means
so
a
much.
lot.
This was such a great conversation.
Thanks so
I can't
much.
wait for everyone to hear.
I love being here.